Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Sam and I am new to booktube. So recently got back into reading and I really love it, and I just wanted to create this channel so I could share that with you, share some rants for books I don't like, and maybe some video essays showing my reading journal, and really just talk about books. So I just do the newbie tag just to get to know me, and we'll go from there. So first, why did you start this channel? I started this channel because I really enjoy books. I am an autistic creator, which means when I love something, I don't just casually like it, I really like it. And for that, that's books. Now, certain book series can be a personal interest or a special interest, but I think for me it's books overall. So I enjoy the process of reading, I enjoy the process of analysing books, and I just enjoy talking about them and creating content around it. I also have a reading journal and I would love to share that with you, and yeah. What are some fun, unique things you can bring to booktube? So I am, as I said, I'm an autistic person. I'm also trans, which means that not only do I bring an autistic voice, a trans voice to the community, which I think can be really special. So everyone out there has their unique identity and their unique way of seeing things, and I think it's important to have a range of voices in there. So what are you most excited for about this new channel? I am really excited just to share things with you and to talk about it and have an outlet. I think my partner is really not annoyed at me, but he's just wants me to talk to someone else because I get so excited about these books and I don't have an outlet for them anywhere apart from here, so I'm really looking forward to that. Why do you love reading? Well, I love reading because it is an escape. I think imagination is something like autistic people struggle with, and when I was tested for autism it was one of my strongest points, so it almost counted against me in the diagnosis, but in the end I scored so highly on everything else that they just could not diagnose me. And I just use it as an escape. I find daily living quite difficult and I live quite an adapted life. It may not seem that way because I do live independently, I go to university and I did have a job when I took a year out from university, but I still live a very adapted life, and reading books allows me to escape that. I get anxiety with every single thing I do. Going to meet a friend, I find that anxiety inducing even if I've known them for years. Ordering a coffee, going to the shops, everything I just find really difficult. Even like daily living tasks, I just find things overwhelmingly difficult, and books I don't find difficult at all. It took me a really long time to learn how to read, and it took me a really long time to learn how to speak and how to walk, but once I was able to do that, I was off. I was exceeding expectations. I had a college reading level before the age of 10. It was weird. So I've always loved reading, and it really helps me like cope with life. 5. What is a series or book that got you into reading? Well, this is going to sound really bland, but it was Harry Potter, and Harry Potter was my special interest until I was around 13 years of age. And now I have a really complicated view of Harry Potter because as I've grown up I've realised how problematic some aspects have been, and just J.K. Rowling in general telling me that I shouldn't exist and that she doesn't like me. And as an autistic person who really loved Harry Potter and it was my special interest, I am extremely disappointed by that. I'm not going to delve into it anymore because I think there have been videos on this topic that I've done really well, and I'll link those down below. But I found it really difficult personally, and because of that I don't want to say Harry Potter got me into reading, even though it did. And the book I read after Harry Potter I think really kickstarted everything, and it was The Hobbit. It was the first kind of adultish book I read. I was about 9, 10, and I was probably a bit too young for it, but then I started reading classics and no one could stop me then. And I feel like The Hobbit really kickstarted me reading other things because I found it such a difficult book to read at 9 years old, and I found that after that other books were quite easy and I was just off with it. What questions would you ask other booktubers? I would probably ask them what their least favourite book is and why. I find that everyone can talk for hours and hours and hours on their favourite book, but no one can talk about the book that they hate the least. And I feel like I need some salt in my life. If they could talk about it in detail and talk about exactly what they don't like about it and why, and maybe go into into detail in some of the passages in the book that just they didn't like, and that would be really cool. I think they're more interesting. I think you understand a lot more about them as a reader when they do that, and I just find stuff like that so cool. What challenges do you think would be hardest to overcome as a booktuber? I think for me will be actual content creation. I am a third year student of psychology. I'm actually fourth year because I took a year out, but I'm actually a finalist, so I'll be graduating in June, and yeah, it is terrible. I have deadline after deadline after deadline. I've got my final project report to do. I've got results to analyse. So I think actually finding time for content creation, so it might be a bit spotty for the first few months, but I think over time I'll get into a pattern and it'll be fine. But I just think that's going to be quite difficult for me to do. So 8, when did you start reading? I started reading at a young age, but then when I moved to uni, I didn't have my massive bookshelf with me anymore. And my massive bookshelf is double stacked. It was the only bookshelf in the house, and it was all my books. So growing up, my family didn't read much, and I was the only reader. I'm the youngest sibling, and I was the only one that read. So my mum had this bookshelf, and it was all my books. And then when I moved to uni, I couldn't take that with me, so I didn't read. And it was only until I got my own place the second place I got with my partner, which is by uni, I was able to buy my own bookcase and take most of them with me. I did get rid of a third, and I am planning to halve what I've already got, because we are moving after we finish uni, so yes, that's going to be fun, and I will do a video on that because I think that'll be really interesting, to why I'm getting rid of things, why I'm keeping certain things, and yeah. I would say most recently I've gotten back into reading this past month, but I think it has been building up over time. So I reread the Harry Potter as well. I re-listened to the Harry Potter series last year. I then started to kind of read things again, I reread a lot, and now I'm not rereading anything, I'm reading new content, and I've read about 8 books this month. So I am getting back into reading. Where do I read? So so I get my books from BorrowBox, so that I connect it with my library card and I get access to books from the library 24/7. It doesn't have all new releases there though, so if I need a new release, they're really pricey, and I am a student, I'm quite poor, so I do use Amazon sometimes, and I get a new release. You can get new releases sometimes for like 99p, and that is so cheap that I can't not get it. If I really like the book, I know that it doesn't support authors, but if I really, really like the book, I will buy a physical copy when I can, and I'll try to get a nice copy, so I can keep it with me and reread. And I really like having physical books. I did used to listen to audiobooks on Audible, but I cancelled my subscription because I have auditory processing disorder, which means that I can't concentrate to a book unless it's the only thing I'm doing, and the only time when I'm doing that is when I'm going for a walk or eating my breakfast, and even then I find it difficult unless it's like plugged straight into my ears. So I was finding it too difficult to actually concentrate on the book enough to actually enjoy it as an audiobook. Maybe I'll get back into it later, but at the moment I don't have the time to do nothing and just listen to a book. So what does my book collection actually look like? I would take you down there, but my house is a mess, so I'm not going to show you that. I don't want to be bullied for having a messy house, thanks. And my book collection is not very diverse. I stopped buying a lot of books when I turned 16, so a lot of it is my pre-16 reading tastes. So that is like a lot of YA, a lot of fantasy, a lot of like, I don't know. There's some classics thrown in as well. I have an extensive Oscar Wilde collection, so I will make a video about that because I do understand that Oscar Wilde was actually quite anti-Semitic and problematic. I wrote about it for my English literature coursework and the Yellow Wallpaper, which is really cool. And I will do a rereading of both of those, and I will explore that again. So yeah, my book collection is classics, YA, fantasy, and not much else. So that's it. Please let me know if there's any questions you want me to answer. I will be monitoring the comments. Also, I'm also autistic, so if I've answered the questions wrong, that's on me. And if you want to know more about them, just ask me, I'll just comment. More content from me will be a reading journal tour. I might show you my bullet journal system, but I don't think it's very pretty and aesthetic. It is literally functional. There is nothing there that is pretty or aesthetic, and neither is my reading journal really. It's just full of art about books. But I will describe it because I do think it's interesting. I do like watching people make spreads and whatever, so I'll just set it up. And then I might show you my life journal. Probably not a lot because it is really personal, but I will show you. It's really, I think it's nice. Yes, I will. Future content will also involve video essays and me just talking about books. I really like books and I think we should talk about them more. So hit subscribe, hit like, comment, whatever you want, and I'll see you soon.